Chris, thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to get into this. I can't turn down a good chat.
Yeah, I know. I love it. That's what I love so much too about social media is because that's how we met. And we met through a mutual connection. And he was also on the podcast as well. So it's just really a cool opportunity to just meet and talk with people all over and like-minded people, entrepreneurs, business owners. It's really awesome to just connect and share.
I agree. I did an
Yeah.
interview recently, which was just an on-cam face-to-face interview, and connection is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've so many friends now that I actually just was digital strangers. Like,
Right.
it's funny.
Oh, I know. I know. I've actually been able to meet up in real life with some people that I've met online, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Just last week, I met probably about 10, 15 people that I've only spoken to online.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Hung Harrison, hung Harrison as well,
Yeah. I'm
which was
gonna
good.
I'm gonna pause for a second. I'm not sure we're having glitching issues.
Can you hear? My internet has been a bit strange. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It was just we were getting like that kind of like pause, go kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Is it all right now, do you think?
Yeah, it's good now. Okay, good. It was like as soon as we started talking, they're like, we're gonna mess it up right now. But that's
Well,
all right.
hopefully we're all good.
Yeah, no, everything looks good now. Um, but yeah, so yeah, just it's just really great to connect with everybody and meet people online, like-minded people. Because like I said, like solo entrepreneurship, like we're all kind of in our own little spaces doing our work. And, it's not like we're going into an office every day and like meeting people. So it's really nice to have a platform like this. I always say how lucky we are that social media exists because I
Mm,
think just 10, 15 years ago, well, 15 years ago, I mean, it just wasn't a thing. It just wasn't an option. I mean, even when I was in college, like social media is a whole class now. Like social media, we didn't even talk about it. And I studied communications and marketing. We didn't even talk about social media. So it's just
that's
made such,
interesting.
yeah,
I try and think. I guess we're a similar age. I try and
yeah,
think back to my college days, and there was not just wasn't even Facebook wasn't even around.
yeah.
I don't think.
No, I like when I was in college, it was just starting, like, because I think it came out in like, I don't know, 2005 or something. Facebook did. So I was like
Mm.
just in college when it came out. And I was like, no one was using it for business. It was very random. Like you would just poke people and post.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember the poke feature? So strange.
Yeah. No, I do remember that. That always meant something when you got a poke off a girl. I'd be like, yes, she poked me.
Right? Oh, it's so funny. Oh, how things have changed.
I know. God.
But but so tell me a little bit about how you got into sales and into this world and just what was the passion there and how did you find your way into this?
There was no passion at all. It was
Awesome.
just
Okay.
I just needed a job. There's a lot more passion now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just needed a job. I spoke to a friend of mine and she said, "Oh, we'll get you a job." I didn't even know it was a sales job. And
Mhm.
I got taken into this office. They said, "Yeah, we'll take you," because they will take anyone. And then they said, "You're going to be ringing these people, trying to get them to buy this." Ripped a phone book in half and put it on the desk in front of me and another
Oh,
new
wow.
starter. So we had half the alphabet each in this particular area. And yeah, set about calling them. I think at the start of that job, I was doing 100 calls a day, there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And I was awful. I think I
Mm.
got fired from that job. Went into a couple more. It's just I was terrible. Like
Mhm.
there was one person on the end of this bank of desks who had a computer. That was it.
Yeah.
Apart from that, we were using phone books and paper. Then I went to a proper call center with a headset. And that's when I actually started to build up this resilience because my number of calls went up to 220 a day. I was meant to do.
Nice.
All your
Wow.
gap times between calls were timed as well. And yeah, that was insane. Like it was an awful place to work, but I got so much out of it because I met my wife there, I met my best friend there.
Okay.
Then I went into like recruitment, but selling digital advertising as
Hmm.
well. And I pestered and pestered this best friend that I met at the call center and said, can you please get me a job at your marketing agency? And he was like, what do you know about marketing? I was like, oh, nothing really, but I know how to
Nothing yet.
sell. Nothing yet, exactly. And then he finally rang me up. It was about 2 years later, maybe 3 years later. He rang me up and said, I've got an opportunity for you. It will be quite a low salary, but we can bring you in. And then first month I got a deal in, which is relatively unheard of. And then it just snowballed. Ended up working with some massive clients. We were a content agency as well, so I picked up quite a lot of knowledge about the different touch points and the customer journey, which was really, really important and really relates to what I'm doing now. And the rest is history. I started posting a bit of content on Instagram, and then here we are.
Yeah. Well, so you talk about content and learning all of that. I'm guessing that's really something that helped you catapult your own business then. So like, how did you go from there to then starting your own?
Again, a mistake, funnily enough. It was just trying to scratch a creative itch over during COVID. Yeah. So I was just a bit bored. I had all this time at home. I was like, I had an eye for, design, but I wasn't very good at it, but I could tell what looked good and what didn't. So I just started copying people's carousels, not posting them. I probably spent about 6 months on and off, like messing around with things. I had like a quote page that bombed because I didn't put anything into it. And I just decided finally, like, right, I've got a month's worth of content here that was all my own and not copied. It was all B2B sales stuff. So I just scheduled it all. And then, it went from there, really. Someone reached out and said, oh, could you help me with some sales stuff for my business? I was like, yeah, okay. And then
You're
I
gonna
did.
pay
Then
me for
someone
this?
else,
Like
and I'd had really low price, and I helped this guy out, hopefully a little bit. And then a couple more people came, and I spoke to someone else who was doing similar to what I do, and they said your price is far too low. So the next time, I said it's multiple 4 figures, and the person paid on the call, and that's when I was like, okay, we can
there's
do something
something
here.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
started to think, how can I try and get 2 or 3 of those a month just to replace the wage? And I put together a sort of like a hybrid program with a course, one-on-ones, group, community, DM access, all these other bits, guest speakers and stuff. Got a few people into there, worked like crazy to help them get results and engineer the process. And now there's nearly 100 people in this community, which is
nice.
crazy. And some of the results that we're getting are insane. So
Wow. All by accident.
all by accident, yeah. And in the process, obviously, I quit my job. I had a really hard year
Right.
last year, but quit my job 14 months ago, I think.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It's funny how, I mean, obviously we say by accident, but there's obviously a lot of work that went into it, right? You said how long you just sat there just playing with creating posts and not even posting them, just creating them to practice and like hone that skill. I think that's the thing. Like a lot of people, because we always hear these online and I can't stand seeing them where it's like the whole get rich quick thing, only work an hour a day and, bring in X, Y, and Z. And it's like, you're probably working more than an hour a day. It probably just doesn't feel like work to you. Cause I know there's a lot of things I do that I actually just enjoy because it's like you said, a creative itch, but that is work. I mean, it is getting you closer to, what you end up doing, really.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're not sat on a yacht sipping cocktails, are you? You are working.
Right, right.
Just because, but at least it doesn't feel like it. So yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
I still work quite long hours,
Mm-hmm.
especially like on a Thursday. I'll do 12-hour days usually on a Thursday
Yeah.
because it's just a day when I get stuff done. But you start to get systemized with it, which
Right.
is a thing I'm a big fan of. Is just like turning things into processes and just creating as much leverage as you can, either with tools or building your own assets or automation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I've started really like geeking out on that kind of thing as well, and the whole
Oh, yeah.
business journey and things like that. So yeah, it's all stacking. It's all majorly exciting. Opportunities are opening up for speaking gigs, like potentials for stuff like this
Oh, that's so
on
cool.
stage. Yeah, it's really blown up. I had no idea. Like, it's changed my life
Yeah. Well,
completely.
I know you said you're heading to Miami in a
Mm,
few months for an event. So, like,
yeah.
it's like going across the pond and would you have ever thought, you know?
No, no. And that opportunity came by me paying someone $15,000 to join their mastermind, which is,
Yeah.
that's nearly half my year's salary when I first started that agency role. And I've just paid it to
Yeah.
a guy in full on one call, 30-minute call. And then I was like, oh no, I've got to make this work now.
Right.
So yeah. But I got a couple of up level my mindset straight away just by putting that money down. And then yeah, end of December, actually 3 months to the day, flying across to Miami for 3-day in-person mastermind event. So really
That
excited
is so
about
cool. That is
that.
so cool. Yeah. And I want to go back to like when you said like you just fell into it, because even for me, if we go back to like college days, when I first started college, like I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea that I would end up in the world of marketing, but I was
Mm,
always a creative person. And I think kind of like you, where you said you just sat down and were just, playing with, creating carousels and stuff like that. Even in college, I found my way into marketing and all of that, but I just genuinely enjoyed that, all the creative stuff that goes along with it. And for me, that just ended up being a natural fit. And then I got into marketing through my work, my old job and all of that. And then that's when I became passionate about realizing the skills that I had kind of honed over those years and just my interest in that creative process, how that now was able to help people. And then
mm,
that is where I became so passionate about like, oh wow, like I I see small business owners, for example, being so passionate about what they do. And with my skill set, I can help them reach more people and do more of that. And so that for me is like really where that passion came from. So I want to know like kind of at what point in your process did it go from, oh, I just needed a job to like, wow, this is kind of like my calling almost.
yeah, I guess it happened twice because there's
Yeah.
the sales side of things, and then the creative side of things as well. And I think
Yeah.
to be good at sales, you actually have to be creative. It's creative problem solving essentially. Sometimes on the spot is how I sort of view
Yeah.
sales. But say yeah, it was, I think when I went into the digital advertising or selling the digital advertising, I think that's when I was just like, oh, when I got deals in, I was like, I love this. I love the back and forth towards the end of a phone call, and just like,
Yeah.
oh, all the little tactics that I used to have at the end of the month to try and get like hit my target. And when you did, it was just a massive buzz. I remember getting a big deal with Heineken in
Oh, wow.
on Christmas Eve at like 11 a.m. and we
Nice
shut at
Christmas present.
1. Yeah, and that hit my target, and it meant I had for end of December, I had an extra, I don't know, £1,000 maybe, something like that. And that was a
Yeah.
big thing for me on that kind of salary. It was massive. So
Oh, yeah.
um, yeah, that was, I think it was around that time. So I'm guessing that was about 9 years ago, probably something like that. And then the
Okay.
creative side of things, probably even earlier, because
Yeah.
I'd always like enjoyed making music, and we made a few
Oh,
videos
same.
and just a little bit of design, nothing too heavy. I used to make beats, used to like go to live events and stuff like that. And that in itself is a really creative process.
Yeah.
Yeah, designing, even though they're awful, like covers and stuff like that, but I was awful. I was really bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I've always had that. And just like, I don't know, I've been into music since I was 8, 9.
This is so funny to me because I'm telling you, every person, myself included, that I've talked to that's in marketing or in this like creative space is a musician.
Really?
Yes, I have talked to so many people, and not only online, but just people in my actual life, like musicians and stuff I knew, like they studied communications or marketing at school and they're musicians. And I'm like, there's some kind of connection here. Because that's what I did
Mm,
for years from a very young age. I was a musician. I performed and sang with bands and all that stuff. And then, you
amazing.
know, yeah, and then, through college, you kind of just fall into like the adult, I'm an adult now, get a real job kind of thing.
Yeah, time to
But
grow up.
yeah, but it's just, but it's just so funny that so many people have kind of that music background. And I think it's just because we're creative and it's a creative outlet. But I'd be curious to hear more about that at some point.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's really
Absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah, it was a It was a good journey.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. But again, I don't know, I kind of fell out of love with that when got 2 kids, housewife, not a housewife, a house and a wife, I should say. Just to point that out. Poor use of grammar there. But yeah, that really like took the back seat then.
Yeah.
And started working at the agency. You know, it's slightly longer hours. Had to take it more seriously. I was on a bigger salary, and then they just kept bumping me up as well in terms
Yeah.
of money and responsibility. So that took a back seat. But yeah, the creativity's always been there. It makes me think
Mm.
back to I used to really enjoy writing stories.
Yeah, same.
In
Yeah.
primary school. Um,
Same. Summer
so just
vacation. Summer vacation, I'd be like writing stories.
Yeah, I used to enjoy reading a lot, but yeah, right, like I guess it's all building. Like I like building things,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
which is again, it's interesting. You know, you construct a song or you construct a story, construct a
Yeah.
process, construct a Notion page, you know,
That's so
construct an
true.
offer. Yeah, sell it all.
Wow,
So
I've never thought of it about that angle, but that's really true. Like, because even creating like a sales funnel, for example, you're creating a story, a journey for the prospect to go through. I never
yeah,
thought of it that way. Like as
yeah,
a as like songwriting or writing stories, it's very, very similar.
it is. And I think everything kind of has its own. I just try and think of everything like a jigsaw. Even when I was making music, like
Yeah.
there's always one bit you just need to fill in, and how do you find the exact right piece? Do you need to rotate it, or turn it up, or turn it down, or strip some of the words out, or do you need to,
Yeah.
I don't know, add in an extra email or whatever it is? And I'm really starting to obsess over this, the journey side of everything, absolutely
Yeah.
everything. So I was away with the team, our team over the weekend, and we spent probably like 4 hours just on from when someone says yes on a sales call all the way through to, because we run a 6-month program,
Mm.
every single touch point and what they're meant to do, what are the communications they're going to receive from us, are they automated or manual, you know, all these different things,
Yeah.
what extra resources can we involve, what do they need to do ahead of taking action on a certain thing, is there a video they need to watch, all this different stuff. And
Yeah.
it takes ages, but again, building, we had post-it notes
Hmm.
out on the table, different colors for it was great. I loved it.
Well, and what I love about that stuff is, putting all these systems in place online and everything, it's like once you have them, like it's a lot of work up front and like the process. I mean, for us, probably not a lot of people, but that's why we do what we do. For us, it's a fun process. Right.
Yeah.
But I love building that. But then once it's done, like it's done and it can work for you. Like that's what I love about it.
That's
It's
so
like,
big.
yeah.
It's absolutely outstanding. You know, I've just finished building a load of lead magnets, and they've all got email
Nice.
sequences off the back of them, and I'm pushing them
Yeah.
out on LinkedIn one at a time, and then pull them away and say they're going. You need to download it now, and then these people are just like being delivered value to, and then getting hit with social proof, and then an opportunity to come and
Yeah.
work with us once the trust has been built and the relationship's a bit stronger. And it's like, build it once.
Yep. I love that. And I love that because I feel like, especially being on social media every day and like kind of being in those bubbles, um, there's so much more to social media. Like there are these whole back end systems that are in place to funnel in business.
Mm,
And I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'll just post on social media and I'll, you know, start getting clients. It's like, okay, but where are people going after that? Like once they discover you, like where are they going? And that's like all these systems that like you're talking about building, and it's so crucial because social media is such a crucial part of the whole process because it's the awareness factor. But
yeah.
where are they going after that? You know?
That's it. One of the things we try and help clients with is just like, I always start from the end point and work backwards. Most people start from the start
Yeah.
and try and work forwards, but they forget that, you know, you can't just stick a post out. You have to do the work. And I think that's a problem a lot
Mhm.
of people starting out, myself included when I first started, is
Oh
I
yeah.
would mark out an hour, a day, let's say half a day, 4 hours to 6 hours, to actually go and learn something about emails and just like shut everything off and go, right, how do I actually, you know, because I can use a
Yeah.
computer, I'm fairly tech savvy, probably average, probably above average now, but back
Yeah.
then, maybe just average or slightly below. There's so much free information out there on YouTube that if you really want this lead magnet and email sequence, you can go
Mhm.
and do it.
Oh
But
yeah.
people don't.
Right.
It's four
Exactly.
hours. It's 8
Yeah.
hours.
Well, and then the thing is too, is like a lot of people just don't have the extra time. Like it depends on too, where like if you're a business and where you are in your business journey. Um, like if you want to set these systems in place, but you don't have the time to set aside to, do all of that, or you don't know where to find the information. Like that's where you or I can come in and say, like, hey, we have it right here for you. This is what you need to do. Right.
Mm.
You don't have to go. Because actually tell me a little bit too about how your how you work with clients, like one-on-one. I know you said you have a program, all of that. So fill me in on how that works and how you help them set stuff
Yeah,
up.
sure. So we have a 6-month hybrid program called Content to Clients. That's the signature program. Most people come to us because they want sales, or they want leads typically. But just after a few minutes on the phone with them, normally either myself or my team will probably find out, okay, you haven't got a sales problem because you've not got enough opportunities to convert. So it's actually a leads problem. Okay. How are you getting leads? And it's like, well, I'm not really getting that many leads. It's like, okay, cool. So it's not actually a leads problem. It's a marketing problem. Tell me about your marketing. And they'll go, oh, I'm doing this, doing that. Like, okay, so tell me about the message that you've got, or, your actual offer. And they'll go, well, I'm still finalizing that. I'm just working on my website. And it's like, right. So it isn't a sales problem. It's not a leads problem. It's not actually a marketing. Well, it is. It's all they're all problems, but the main root cause actually starts with the offer. And that's what we start with. So as soon as people come in, we help them get clear on their financial objectives and their time. So the end goal and how they're going to get to the end goal. Literally, like in half an hour segments, here's what we recommend you should do each day. Mm-hmm. And if you've not got clients, it's all lead generating activities pretty much.
Right.
But firstly, before that, we then look at the offer. And for me, an offer consists of 6 things. It's the people that you're selling to. It's the problems that they're facing. It's the promise that you're taking or going to deliver to them. So the outcome. It's then the phases that you go through in order to deliver that promise, and it's the parts that make that up, and then it's the price. If we can nail all those 6 P's, and this is a framework I've played with so many times, we can nail all those 6 P's, or at least get them 70-80% correct that we're happy with, we can then go out there, have a bit of feedback, try and get a bit of feedback, have a few calls, hopefully a few sales calls, pull out the little black book essentially. While we're doing that, also setting up a few systems, getting maybe optimizing our profile. It's not the big thing. Everyone talks about it, but I think they put far too much onus on it. Mm-hmm. And then, like coming up with consistent content buckets or pillars or whatever the buzzword is this month, they can take their message to market. But I think people get too caught up in that rather than, a very simple journey, which we just call CTC, after content to clients, but it's capturing new followers, building trust with them in the middle, and then converting them at the bottom. Very simple, upside down triangle. So that's the journey that we take people on with 2 different types of content, logical and emotional. So typically the logical stuff will be the numbers, the things that make sense, that they can, I can justify this because I know I'm going to get a quantifiable outcome from working with this person, or at least downloading the lead magnet or whatever type of conversion we're going for. But then the emotional side, which I think a lot of business owners forget about, is like the person behind the brand. And that consists of a character at the top. Then it consists of the opportunity that you present to people. And then it also the mission that you're on as well. So I'm going probably a little bit too deep, but that's sort of how we help people at the start of the journey. And then it's trying to systemize that content process so it's not taking up 2 hours a day or whatever. I used to spend 3 hours making carousels. That's crazy. But how can we systemize that so you can sit down like I do now on a Wednesday morning and create a whole week's worth of content on your own? Maybe you can use ChatGPT. I mean, we've still not really dug into that too much, and then once you got that, it's like, cool. We've got hopefully a few opportunities bubbling from the initial calls that we had. We're also posting content consistently now, and that's not a big issue because we're over the hill with that. We've got a few different formats available. Now we really focus on the leads and refining the sales process from when someone becomes a lead. And that can be a few forms. You know, you might be looking at webinars or masterclasses. It may be lead magnets, which I think are absolutely great, like, as we've already touched on. And then I think some low level automation to support that, and all this alongside continuing to like interact with your ideal audience on whatever channel you're on. Typically we help people across Instagram, LinkedIn. Then once we hit a certain revenue level, it's like, right, plug in a VA with the lowest level tasks you can to take that admin off you, and you continue doing the higher ROI activities, whatever they are. Usually the last thing we recommend people do is remove themselves from the sales process. So you can go and hire editors, people to engage for you, people to add people or whatever. You can hire content writers. You could also hire like a client success person or a project manager or an accountant on the back end, but you firmly in the middle, because no one will be able to typically sell what you do as well as you do. And then, how can we plug in all these gaps, buy back your time essentially? And then, is it something more like ads or, well, who knows, because there are so many options there as well. So that's kind of the whole process. Massive success rates. We've had people like change people's lives like multiple times. People gone from 0 to massive numbers in a short space of time, just because they've got the hunger, the appetite, and they're willing to sit down, listen, and execute.
Yeah. And that right there is the key too. They have to want it. Right. Because I've experienced this in the past where someone will just, well, I just want you to do all that. And it's like, no, you have to be involved. You have to be involved. Like you just said, the sales thing, like that's the last touch point typically is the sales call or whatever. And no one can replace you on that. Like that is you. But I love how that was like a whole masterclass right there. That was like, that's like exactly. And I love how you said people can like, we want more sales, but all those touch points prior to that, all those things, all the way back to your brand messaging, right? Because that's the same with me. Like when I start with clients, that's where we start. No matter what goals they have or whatever they want to accomplish, I'm like, okay, that's all fantastic. Let's go over your brand messaging and make sure that is still on track to help you reach that goal that you want to reach, because that's going to set up the foundation for everything we do. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Reverse engineering stuff. So important. And again, we've already touched on it. Journey, the building of things, like why touch points, different assets, where do they sit, is so important, because ultimately you want people to come to a sales call like 80% ready to buy. And if your messaging is off, that then affects your content or your marketing or your email or whatever these bits that these touch points are in the middle, which then affect the person's perception when they hop on the sales call with you. So that's going to be like, if your marketing's crap and you do manage to get them onto a call, their perception is going to be at like 20%. I'm just curious, whereas you can get them like, I am ready to buy. I've seen enough evidence logically and emotionally that I feel attached enough to this to make a decision, so long as, I don't know, the number's right or the calls are at the right time or the deliverables are ticked, or just some couple of questions, is exactly where you want people.
Yeah. Because like you said, it all has to align, because even if the marketing's great, say the marketing's great and you're like, okay, I'm ready to buy, but then you either get on the call or you go to the place or whatever, and it's just not what you expected. Like that's not in line. Like from A to Z, it has to be completely in line, because anytime there's that, I call them like roadblocks, or there's like something just is mismatched, it makes you step back and like reevaluate. And it's as the consumer, it's like, wait a minute, that's not exactly what I thought this was. And so if it doesn't all match up, you're going to put hesitation in your consumer's mind. So.
Absolutely. And I think that's where the emotional content and the emotional side of the marketing really matters as well for people like us with personal brands, because even though something might not make sense, people will then logically will then fall back on their emotional attachment to you as a character. And it's almost like, oh, well, I still believe them that, or whatever it is. I still think they're a good person, or I believe in their cause or the mission, whatever it is. And that can help increase the percentage, let's say, that they come onto the call with. But I think, and it doesn't just stop there, it's about the delivery as well, like having a system in place because we now have a repeatable process that we can give to clients, and if they do it, they'll see success. It's not easy, it's hard work, it's organic building a personal brand and trying to win clients through organic marketing is, as we both know, is
Not
it's
easy.
tough. No, it's not easy, but if you want it enough, like you say, and you're invested in it enough, you can do it. But the delivery side of things for us is the most important piece, because you get that part right, you get the product right, you get the service right, whatever you do, you will turn your customers into salespeople for you.
Oh
Hormozy
yeah.
talks about this a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we get a couple of referrals every, maybe one a week, maybe two a week, something like
Nice.
that. We've had one today from existing clients who are that happy that they talk about us, and that again strengthens that percentage perception for people before they hop on a call. Oh,
Oh
okay,
my
I'll
gosh,
go and
yeah.
check them out or whatever. Yeah. Oh, okay, I'm interested in the call. They come
Yeah.
on like, right, so and so said this about you. I've seen a couple of bits of content. Like, oh, I love it. And the journey as
Yes.
well, I have to get this out because this is what we've been refining recently, is the journey between, and this is if you have sales calls as part of the process, the
Mm-hmm.
journey between the call being booked and the call taking place is when
Mm.
they're at their hottest, and it's often neglected completely.
Yeah.
So what seeds can you plant? What assets can you tailor as part of that journey from booking to call taking place that are going to just enhance that percentage
Exactly.
perception even further?
Even just a simple thought, like as soon as they book, even just a simple follow-up email, like, hey, we're excited to speak with you. And, here's maybe some things you can check out in the meantime. And then maybe
Mm,
follow up again before you get on the call, that sort of thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, exactly. And
yeah, powerful stuff.
I can tell just by you talking about this, how passionate you are, like about like
I love
everything
it.
is you and building these processes. Like I feel the same way. Like it's really cool because I think it's a lot of, like we said, it's a lot of things people don't see. It's like that iceberg graphic, where it's like everything below the surface you don't see. And it's like when you
Yeah,
can share that with people and it's like this big aha moment, like, oh wow, like, we can put all these things in place. It works for us. And yeah, it's
yeah,
just
it's
really cool.
powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So automating as much as you can or outsourcing as much as you can the different parts of that journey mean that, this is still something I'm wrestling with now, mean that you can
Mm.
remove yourself from certain parts of the equation, which is
Yeah.
big.
Yeah. It is. It is. And then some things, even going off of that there with automating things, like I love automating certain things, but then there's other things where I'm like, I love, I love doing this. So it's kind of like there's things you're gonna love that you still have to outsource because if you want to scale and you want to grow, even if you love doing that thing, sometimes you might still have to outsource that so you can show up where only you can. Because
Mm,
I know there's a lot of things sometimes even working with clients where they're like, oh, well, we can do that or I can do that. And I'm like, I'd really love, if like, we could kind of take that on this end. And then I really want you to focus on X, Y, and Z. Cause like, that's only where you could focus, you know, just kind of
yeah,
pinpointing those things as well,
playing
if
to your
that makes
strengths,
sense.
and yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Playing to your strengths rather than your preferences. I think
Yes.
because there are
That's a good word,
loads of
preferences.
things
Yep.
that I like to do that, I enjoy editing videos, but I may as well pay someone who's better than me and I'll get it done in 0 minutes
Yeah,
rather than me doing it and having a less polished product and it taking 120 minutes. So that's
exactly.
a really big thing. And then yeah, playing to your strengths, but also not, because you're outsourcing something,
Mm.
not just going to, I guess, like not just going to a mediocre task. If you are outsourcing, it's filling that time with a really high ROI
Yeah.
activity,
Yeah.
i.e. leads and
Exactly.
sales. Because so many
Yeah.
people, I did it when I did a talk recently. So many people are just like, as I mentioned, oh, I need to sort the website out, then I'll get into it. And it's like there are so many excuses why you're not actually doing the work or the thing that in the back of your mind needs to be done, but you're not
Yeah.
doing it because there's always something else that kind of needs doing. Whereas the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that you need to do is just get out there as a business owner at the start and have conversations. They don't even have to be sales conversations, just little black book conversations,
Yeah.
social media conversations, send a few emails, make a few calls. It's,
So
but
underrated.
it is. I've
So
just done a video
simple.
about it. Yeah. My YouTube guy was like, let's do a video where it's called Mission Impossible. You've got 24 hours to win a client. Go and write it and tell me
Cool.
and film it. Tell me what you would do. And yeah, I was like, well, I'd just start. If I had to win a client, I would start with my phone. I would go through my phone and I would ring everyone, absolutely everyone. Because if they're in there, they probably, they've given me their
already
number.
warmed up to
They
you.
trust me. Yeah, exactly. And then ask for intros. Simple as that. But so many people, I think, feel like they can just sit there and expect people to come to them. But there are hundreds of people that do what they do. Hundreds of people that do what I do, probably what you do as well.
Yep.
So you just need to beat them to it. The problem isn't actually the fact that you're good at what you do. The problem is the fact that not enough people know you do it.
Yeah. And people, and I always say this too, like when you are there, you're the one putting out content, you're the one running an ad or putting out whatever it is, mailers, anything, right? You see everything. So you think everyone else sees everything. When in fact, they're probably only seeing about 10% of what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
So I think
100%.
sometimes that's hard for people to recognize too, is like, you think you're putting a lot of stuff out there because you're the one doing it. You're present for all of it. But the person you're trying to target might only be seeing it 10% of the time. So keep putting it out there. Keep talking about it. Keep selling. Because it's just, there's just a wall of information being thrown at us minute by minute online, everywhere. And things get lost pretty quickly.
Yeah, imagine how many social posts you see each day. If we're just talking Insta or LinkedIn content,
many.
like 1,000, I don't even know, like 10,000. I'm not sure.
A lot.
How can your posts stand out? And this is where, the journey of a post comes into it. It's like, I've just narrowed it down to ABC for my formula is like attention, breakdown, call to action. So grab their attention, nice hook, headline, something to make them go, oh, what's this? Then break down precisely what you want to say in order, nice and easy. And then call them to action, tell them exactly where to go, how to do it, and why they should do it as well. What's in it for them. And that kind of that ABC, I love coming up with all these little frameworks, but that ABC journey is just, that helps me and our clients like just simplify it. It's like, get their attention. What can you do? I'm a big fan of negative headlines.
People are attracted to that.
They are. Yeah, I am. And like specificity as well. I think it's like, we helped a client make more money. It's like, well, say we helped a client in this industry 10x their revenue or make a million or whatever in the time frame that it happened in, and be really specific, because I think that's something people forget as well.
Oh yeah, really specific. And like I think we said earlier, like not just talking about the services because 1,000 other people do what we do, but talking about the benefit of it. Because I think I used it. I know I used an example in a post that I said, say you're like a professional organizer, right? And you're like, oh, we can help you get things organized. And okay, well, that's great. But I was like, if your target audience is like, you help busy moms get organized, well, busy mom doesn't just care about getting organized. She wants more time with her family. She wants more time to herself without feeling guilty about it. She wants right. So you talk about those things, not just like, oh, look how neat we can organize your stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. Yeah. Sell a vacation, not the plane journey.
Exactly.
It's the phrase, I believe. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I love going to Europe, but I don't like flying. So if you're trying to sell me the flight, it's not going to work.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
But I will go to Europe and I will sit my butt on that plane for 8 hours because I know it's worth what's on the other side.
That's it. You're not doing it because you like the flight.
Exactly.
I hate flying.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No.
Yeah.
10 hours to Miami doesn't sound great, but we're going to do it because of what's on the other end, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I also wanted to ask you quickly about talking about like kind of what's on the other side is I heard you say the buzz you get from when clients have a win. Like when they have a win, it's a win for you. I feel the same. So like tell me a little bit about like just how that kind of keeps you going.
I think like a while ago, I was a win's not that winning a new client isn't the same for me anymore as it was.
Yeah.
Because I tied everything to the finances. And
Oh, yeah.
now I tie it to the person coming in, which I still obviously get a buzz from because I enjoy
Right.
sales calls. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy the start of the journey. But that is nothing in comparison to, seeing, and I'm not even talking, we market the financial wins because we help people win new clients essentially. But
Yeah.
it's everything on that whole journey. Again, journey. You
Yeah.
should just call this the journey, this podcast.
The journey.
Yeah, or journey building or something. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
seeing them progress in their own lives. Like I've had people messaging me saying, like we've bought a new car, or I've paid off a big
Mm.
chunk of debt, or I am not scared of this anymore. My whole confidence has shifted, and you can see it as well.
Yeah.
Um, the money's almost becomes a byproduct, but regardless of what it is, I don't know, it makes this worth it. Yes, I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
it to make money, of course I am, but I'm also
Oh, yeah.
doing it to feel fulfilled for myself and help other people. I love helping other
Yeah.
people. My wife walked in when I was rewatching a new course module that I'd filmed, and my wife walked in and she said, "You sound like a teacher." I was like, "That's because I'm teaching something."
Yeah.
And I've actually worked out that I quite enjoy teaching things as well to people. And then I
Yeah.
look back, like, cast it back, and I've always enjoyed like helping people out. I'll probably
Yeah.
help people out a bit too much in my life. And yeah, when I see some of the wins that our clients have had, Jesus, I've cried at some of them. I get
Oh, yeah.
goosebumps all the time because people come on. It's happened twice in the last few weeks. People have come on sales calls and cried on the call. Like, it means so much to me
Oh,
to be able to make a start on this. I'm nervous, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it
yeah.
anyway because we charge a good amount to join the program.
Yeah.
And especially for people like that, when I had a chap, this was a while ago now, he had to go and ask his wife if he could do it, and I could tell he needed it. I could tell he
Mm.
needed to do it, and I could tell it'd be good. And
Yeah.
I see that as like, if I let this guy off the hook and don't sell to him, not
Yeah.
only am I not going to make money, but I'm doing him a disservice. It's my
Yeah.
duty to help this man in front of me. So he said, I need to go and speak to my wife. I said, cool, go and speak to her. I'll wait here on a Zoom call, rather than going, okay, yeah, we'll speak again tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm not sure. I was like, trust me, let's do this now because I know that you need it. He came
Mm-hmm.
back and it was his last bit of money.
Mm.
And he
Yeah.
was making about 900 a month. Month 2, he made 9 grand something
Wow. That is awesome.
at the end of month 2. And that was one of the, we did a testimonial interview, and that's one of the ones where I was just like, it was so good
Wow.
just to see like that guy was barely scraping by,
Man.
last bit of money. Now he's like, my confidence is sky high. I'm not afraid of sales calls. My content's better than ever. I'm getting more like incoming attention than ever, and I'm making more money and having more fun while doing it. I'm just like,
That is
mission accomplished.
amazing. And just think if you would have been like, all right, well, get back to me whenever you're done talking, with your wife. It's like you don't
Mm.
know how, that it could have gone completely differently. And,
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing that people need to understand about sales is when it kind of feels like it's about you, but it's not about you, right? Like I know when I sell to someone or I'm offering my services, like I'm doing it because I truly believe that it's going to help them. Like if I don't
Mm.
think I can help them, I'm going to say, you know what, this might not be a fit at the moment, but right, I'm not going to try to sell to someone unless I feel that it's actually beneficial to them. And so I think when a lot of people are like, oh, I'm scared of sales or I'm scared to do sales, it's like, think of it as an external thing, not an internal thing, like not something that's I'm getting a sale out of it. It's I'm helping somebody.
Yeah. That's all it is. I think you are on the sales call, you're helping them make a decision.
Yeah.
And after the call, you're helping them reach an outcome. The outcome of the call, the journey of the call, is to find out usually a bit more about them, find out where they want to get to see what's standing in the way, and like see if what you offer them is a good fit.
Yeah.
And you are letting them down. If what you do is a good fit, and you let them get off the call with a maybe or a no,
Yeah.
you're actually letting them down.
Yeah.
You are letting them down. So I will keep people on calls. I'm not a pushy salesman by any means. I used to be.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of the tactics and stuff like that, but I will
Right.
now. I'm seasoned enough, I think, to be able to ask the hard questions that make them go, actually,
When
yeah,
I
he's
think
right.
those old sales tactics are that they're old sales tactics. They're old
Yeah,
school. I think the
yeah,
way we sell now has completely shifted. Like we said, it's definitely more about not what you can get, but what you can give. And we're so, I think, bombarded with that. We've been so bombarded, like with all the ads we see, and even just walking through a mall and someone like coming out and trying to sell you something. Like we're so used to just, if it's an ad, we scroll. It's why YouTube ads have a skip button, right? It's like all these things. So sales tactics have taken an entirely different direction and shift. I wouldn't
yeah.
even call
Well,
them
it's a
tactics. It
buyer's
feels,
market.
yeah,
The buyers can choose. It's just
exactly.
like the recruitment market. It's a candidate led market now, because there are
Mm-hmm.
so many options out there, so many people that do what you do, and then
Mm-hmm.
you jump all over them and start trying to sell. It's immediately going to repel, and
Yep.
they're just going
Like
to
all the
become annoyed
DMs
with
you
you.
get on LinkedIn.
Oh God,
I'm like, guys,
absolutely horrendous.
no, that's not gonna work.
No, just get to
Not
know
these
people
days.
a little bit first. Just
Mhm.
ask,
Yeah.
like, go walk in with no agenda. That's all I did at the start of LinkedIn. It's just like no agenda whatsoever. Like maybe we
Yeah.
should like, have a chat. I like a lot of the time I end up buying from people that I start conversations with because we get on so well, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh,
actually, I
yeah.
could do with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And too, you get more out of it. It's not just a sale then. I mean, we're making friends, we're making connections. Like you can get a lot more out of it doing it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got very, very good friends, and it all comes from one of us sent the other a DM. That's how
Yeah.
all these people that I met on over the last week when I went to the conference. I met my mentor, who I originally like started a conversation with. So I was like, she's a good fit. I'm going to see
Yeah.
if we could. And anyway, she ended up selling to me, which is
There
crazy.
you go. Yeah. How the tables turn.
Exactly. And that's going in with no real, yeah, there's a potential. Oh, it might be a good fit, but
Yeah.
never once did I try and picture. It was just a conversation. And then turns
Yeah.
out we built enough trust in each other that I
Yep.
give her
And
money now.
people will choose to work with those they know, like, and trust. We hear that all the time, but it's true because if you're already invested in someone, you know what they do, it takes a lot of effort and work for the consumer to go out and find someone else and learn about them and all of that. So that whole relationship building is so important.
Yeah, it
So
is.
important in that.
It is. And it's all built on trust, like you say. You can't typically won't buy from someone if you don't trust them.
Right.
And you can't trust someone if you you won't trust them if you don't like them. And you can't
Right.
like someone if you don't know them. So that's why I say like
Exactly.
the awareness stage is where most people fall down, because most people like us are, they are trustworthy
Mm-hmm.
and they are likable,
Yeah.
but they've just not got enough traffic on the front end, either because of the
Right.
messaging or their activity or their ads or whatever it is,
Yeah.
um, converting eyeballs into, I guess, or strangers into attention, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I wanted to ask you just one last thing, and that is, what is one major takeaway? I know we covered a lot. This is like I said, this is like a full masterclass, this one, which I think is awesome. But what is one takeaway that you would give to someone um, of just getting started? Like, what's one step they can take today?
Getting started in what? Business?
Well, I guess just getting started in they're not seeing sales. What's like one step they can take?
Oh, just one.
I know that's really hard, isn't it?
Oh no, I thought you were going to let me have two or three then.
We'll have two or
One
three then.
thing. Okay, pull out the little black book and go and speak to people.
Yeah.
Even if you think that they're people that you can't help, they will know people you can help. And that little black book might be the phone book. It might be your email list. It might be your social contacts. It might be someone you bump into walking the dog, or, taking your kids to school or at football practice or whatever it is. Just speak to as many people as you can. Validate your idea and get used to saying the words. Get your mind and your mouth, almost muscle memory, used to saying those words, and talking to people, because I think sales is one of the highest leverage skills you can buy. Well, you can buy it, kind of, but you have to go through it. Build is what I meant to say.
Right.
It's so crucial. Next to that is marketing. So just spend a little bit of time. Well, second thing, don't be afraid of sitting down for a whole day to learn something new, because what most people will do is dip in for 15 minutes, half an hour, and then try and do something. They're not that good at it because they've only done 15 minutes research. Then they'll go, oh, I'm not that good at this, I'm going to stop. Whereas if you can, again, we talk about foundations and things stemming from, fundamentals. If you went and did an 8-hour research on, I don't know, let's say you wanted to create carousels, or let's say you wanted to learn about investing.
Yeah.
Dedicate a day to it. It's only a day of your life. Right. Lay that foundation, and then start slowly putting it into practice, because once you've got a firmer foundation, it's not just 15 minutes, it's 8 hours. You're actually going to end up being better because you know a lot more. Right. The third thing, I'm making this up on the spot. So yeah, we've got going and speaking to people. We've got sitting down and actually taking time out. Go and post content. I think regardless of the platform, and do something that's nice and easy for you, nice and comfortable. If you like writing and you're not good on video, don't do video. Just write. Go to LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads. If you do like being on video, or you like designing, then go to the platforms that serve those most, because
that's a good point.
That's like, again, another fundamental which you and I probably take for granted now. It's very easy for us to show up. We're creative enough. We know the process. Really, really important. And understand that you go through these stages. There's unconscious incompetence, where you don't know that you're rubbish at something. There's there's conscious incompetence, where you know that you're rubbish at it, but you're still trying. Then there's conscious incompetence. Oh God, I'm getting them all wrong. I was trying to be clever.
I know what you mean, though.
There are 4 stages of learning, and just understand that when you're trying something new, you're at that very first stage. So you are going to suck, but no one's going to know about it, because you're posting content and your audience will be tiny because you're just starting out. And
people don't notice as much as you think they do.
No, they don't.
Right.
It's God, it's all about the stories you tell yourself, and you can sell yourself on any excuse in the world. So you're obviously good at sales. So go and sell to someone. sell your dream to someone.
Exactly.
I saw a great tweet, and it was just like, you believe, dad says to son, you believed in yourself. You believed in Santa Claus for 12 years, but you can't believe in yourself for 5 minutes.
Oh, that's cute.
It's like, boom. Yeah, I love that.
Exactly. Oh, that's true. And I've also heard one where they're like, there are people out there making millions or making money that are half as good as you, simply because they believe they can, or believe they're good, or whatever, something like that. But it's like, it's really it comes down to mindset, and just actually believing you can do it, and then taking, like, the 3 steps you just said, like, just doing it, just taking action. Even if it's messy action, just take it.
My whole ethos, action. That's like all I believe in, because even if you fail, you still learn.
Exactly. There's no downside. Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all this. Like I've said, I think this was like a full-on masterclass. So I think a lot of people will benefit from this. And it was really great to finally speak with you face to face in person. I know we've been connected online for a while, so it was nice to actually meet you in person, or in person virtually.
Digital person. No, thank you very much. It's been great. I know we've been chatting for, I don't know, a year, maybe a year and a half. So it's been great to meet you too. It's been a pleasure to be on, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.